Hello everyone, my name is Anisa Yumna Izdihar with student number B0325023 and I'm from class C. So today in this video I would like to explain about two important concepts in translation, namely idioms and collocation. So let's start with the first one, idiom. Idiom is a group of words whose meaning cannot be understood from the individual meaning of the words. The example of idiom in English is stab someone in the back. This is not literally hurting someone with a knife, but it actually means betraying someone. In Indonesia, we also have idioms. For the example is kambing hitam. Literally, it means black goat, but it actually means someone who is blamed for a problem. If translator translate it into black goat, English reader may not understand what the actual meaning is. So this is why idioms cannot translate it word by word. Translating idiom can be very challenging. That's why there are problems in translating idioms. So let's start with the first one, difficulty recognizing idioms. Sometimes translators do not realize that a sentence is idiomatic. For the example, she spilled the beans. A translator may think someone accidentally dropped beans, but actually the idiom means revealing a secret. Without understanding idiom, translator can misunderstand the entire sentence. The next problem is an idiom may have no equivalent in the target language. The problem is that an idiom in the source language may not exist in the target language. For the example is kick the bucket, it means to die. However, Indonesian does not have an idiom with exactly the same image or expression. If translator translated literally into menendang ember, the meanings become strange and confusing. So, usually translator translate it into meninggal dunia. The next problem is an idiom may have similar meaning but different contexts of use. This problem occurs when the target language has an idiom with a similar meaning, but it's not always used in the same situation as the source language idiom. For the example, in English, kill two birds with one stone. This idiom means achieving two goals with a single action. Indonesian has a similar idiom, sambil menyelam minum air. Both idioms express the idea of accomplishing two things at once. However, translators still need to consider the context and audience. Even though the meanings are similar, the target language idiom may not always fit the style, tone, or purpose of the text. In short, the problem is not finding the meaning, but deciding whether the equivalent idiom is appropriate for the situation. And then, an idiom may be used in both literal and idiomatic meaning at the same time. Another problem is that some expression can have both a literal meaning and idiomatic meaning. Because of this, translator must understand the context carefully before translating. For the example, he saw red. Literally, this means he saw the color red. But as an idiom, it means he became very angry. If translation do not recognize the idiomatic meaning, they may produce an incorrect translation. There are several strategies for translating idiom. The first one is using similar meaning. If the target language has an expression with a similar meaning, translator can use it, even though the wording may not be exactly the same. For the example, don't judge a book by its cover. The idiom means people should not judge something only from appearance. In Indonesian, translator can use expression jangan menilai sesuatu dari luarnya saja. Even though the form is different, the meaning remains similar and neutral for Indonesian readers. The next is paraphrasing. This is the most common strategy. For the example, bite off more than you can chew can be translated as mengambil tanggung jawab terlalu besar. The translator explained the meaning directly. Next, we have omission. Sometimes Translator omit an idiom if it's not important and difficult to translate naturally. However, this strategy must be used carefully because some meaning may disappear. And the last strategy we have borrowing. Borrowing is a strategy where the translator keeps the original idiom or expression from the source language, usually because the expression is already familiar to the target audience or difficult to replace naturally. For the example is bucket list. This expression refers to a list of things someone wants to do before they die. Nowadays, many Indonesian speakers already understand the term bucket list, especially from social media and popular culture. Because of that, translators sometimes skip the original term is tired of translating literally. If translated word by word into daftar ember, the meaning becomes strange and unnatural. So, borrowing can help maintain the original style and make the translation sound more natural for modern audience who are already familiar with certain foreign expression. Next, we have collocation. Collocation is a combination of words that naturally appear together in a language. Next, I would like to explain about several types of collocation. The first one, we have lexical collocation. What is lexical collocation? Lexical collocation is a combination of contained words such as noun, verb, adjective, and adverb. The example is deep sleep. The word deep usually means dalam. However, if translator translated literally into tidur dalam, it sounds unnatural in Indonesian. The natural expression is tidur nyenyak. Why? Because Indonesian speakers describe good sleep using the word nyenyak, not dalam. Next, we have grammatical collocation. Grammatical collocation combines a word with grammatical elements such as preposition or sentence patterns. Here we have sentence, she is responsible for managing the project. The collocation is responsible for. So, the adjective responsible is naturally followed by preposition for. If translator use the wrong preposition, this sentence may become grammatically unnatural. Constructional collocation follows a certain phrase or sentence structure. The example is draw a conclusion. The verb draw usually means menggambar. However, in this context, it means forming or making a conclusion. If translated literally into menggambar kesimpulan, the sentence sounds strange. So, the natural translation is menarik kesimpulan. This example shows that one word can have different meanings depending on its collocation. Idiomatic collocation has figurative meaning and cannot be understood literally. The example is walk on air or walking on air. Literally, it means walking in the sky, but actually it means feeling extremely happy. If translated literally into Indonesian, the meanings become confusing. A more natural translation would be sangat bahagia or senang sekali. Next, frequent collocation refers to words that commonly appear together in daily communication. The example is widely known. If translated literally into dikenal secara luas, the sentence is understandable but sounds stiff and unnatural. The natural Indonesian expression is dikenal luas. Frequent collocation help translators sounds more fluent and natural. So, the last types of collocation is technical collocation. Technical collocation is combination of words that is commonly used in a specific field such as medicine, technology, education, etc. The example is install software. The verb install is commonly used with software in the field of technology. The example in the sentence is users need to install the software before using the application. The collocation is widely used in technology-related texts and sounds more natural than other verb combinations. So there are several problems when translating collocation. The first one is literal translation. One common problem is translating word by word. For example, the collocation "save time" might be translated literally as menyimpan waktu, but actually Indonesian speaker usually say menghemat waktu. The literal translations sound unnatural because waktu cannot literally be stored physically. This happened because translator focus too much on dictionary meanings instead of natural usage. The second one, we have different language pattern. English and Indonesian often have different word patterns and structure. For the example, economic growth becomes pertumbuhan ekonomi. The word order changes in Indonesian. This shows that translator cannot always follow the exact structure of the source language. Next, one word has different meaning. A word may have different meanings depending on the collocation. For the example, run a company means managing a company, but run a marathon means participating in a race. Meanwhile, run out of money means having no money left. This shows the translator cannot translate a word using only one fixed meaning. Next, we also have cultural differences. Some expressions are closely related to a particular culture, making them difficult to translate directly into another language. For the example, Halloween party. This is a celebration associated with Halloween, a tradition that is more common in Western countries. Meanwhile, in Indonesia, we have larung sesaji. This is a traditional Japanese ceremony involving offerings to express gratitude. Because these expressions are culture-specific, target readers may not fully understand them without additional explanation. To solve the problems, translator can use the several strategies to translating collocation. The first one is using natural equivalent. This strategy focuses on finding expression naturally used in the target language. For the example, the collocation "make progress" becomes mengalami kemajuan. The translator chooses the expression commonly used by Indonesian speakers. The second one is paraphrasing. Sometimes translators explain the meaning instead of translating directly. For the example, hold a grudge can be translated as menyimpan rasa marah atau dendam. The wording changes, but the meaning remains clear. And the last one, we have cultural adaptation. Some expressions need adjustment to fit the target culture. For the example, Halloween party. Halloween party is a celebration that is commonly observed in many Western countries, where people wear costumes and take part in festive activities. Translator may adapt it as a Halloween celebration where people wear costumes and celebrate together. Another example, larung sesaji. Translator may adapt it as a traditional Japanese offering ceremony. This strategy helps target readers understand cultural concepts that may not exist in their own culture. In my opinion, translators should not translate everything literally. They should adjust translation to the target culture and audience so the message can be understood naturally. For the example, break the ice is better translated as mencairkan suasana, and take medicine is naturally translated as minum obat. Therefore, a good translator is not the one who that follows every word exactly, but the one that successfully conveys the intended meaning in a natural and understandable way. That's all for my explanation today. I apologize for any mistakes. Thank you for your attention. Bye bye. Thank you.